Welcome to Phoenix Rising, a superior podcast for all of your transformative tools for personal and spiritual growth. Let's go get that nugget. Onai lived in a house with her family in this beautiful space. And one day she went outside to meditate, sitting on her favorite rock next to the river, and she looked down at the river and the way it was flowing through the soil and the sand and the way the sand was receiving the river. And she thought, I want my life to move like the river. And she sat and she felt the sun on her face and she wondered, how do I get my life to flow like this? And 3 words came to her: surrender, allow, and enjoy. And she got this immediate image of sand that was just beautiful sand spread across this pile of land. And water started to trickle through the sand. And she looked closely in this image in her mind at each grain of sand and how as the water moved, the sand didn't resist. It surrendered. It just moved aside and it allowed the water to flow through it and alongside of it, creating this curvature and this beautiful flow. And the sand would sit and look at the water flowing by and enjoy what it allowed to happen by surrendering. Onai sat on this rock, feeling the sun on her face, looking at the trees and the birds, and she just keeps thinking about the 4 seasons and how the trees just bend and sway with the wind and how it grows naturally. The size of the branches above the earth are the same size as the roots below the earth that connect it to Mother Earth. And as the roots reach the sky and the leaves are way up high and they flow in the wind and the breeze and they change color in the leaves. And as the richness of winter curls the leaves, stops the chlorophyll, and drops the leaves, it becomes bare and vulnerable during the winter months, going inward, contemplating life's questions. And she sat and she looked at the birds, how with their beak they build nests to house their babies. They build these beautiful nests in the sways of the trees, not knowing if the nests will survive. And she looks around at all of nature and all of Mother Earth, and she wonders, there's a flow to all of this. And I want to understand as I look at the earth and the water and the air, the wind that moves the leaves and drops the leaves and allows the birds to fly above the trees. And she sits back. She's like, there's something here. There's a message here that I need to know about. Something is going on. And Onai, I'm looking at my life and I know that I'm pushing and forcing and trying to get things to happen. And then she thinks of the elements, the 4 elements of the universe. And she thinks of earth. And then she remembers when she was a kid riding her bike along the trail, feeling the earth underneath the tires as she's pedaling along, moving her legs to the speed of which she wants to go, up the hills or down the hills and around the curves as she travels this trail, powering this bike along the earth. Then she remembered a long time ago, sitting in the water behind a speedboat, waiting for her dad to fire up that engine and drag her through the water. She steadied her hands, holding on to the handle and looking at her feet with the ski toes just pointing up. "Keep 'em steady," she said. "Keep 'em steady." And Dad gave the thumbs up and she gave the head nod, and away he went, powering the engine, forcing the boat through the water. And she held on tight. She tightened her abs, she tightened her arms, and she kept her feet steady. And pretty soon, she was easily floating on top of the water. The boat powering, pushing through the water as it sped across the lake. That is the way you move through that energy, she thought, pushing your way through the water. And then she remembered a story that she heard a long time ago about raising your perspective and using the analogy of a hot air balloon. The hot air balloon using fire to propel it upwards, to gain a perspective, a higher advantage point to looking at life and how you are doing things. That's the other element, is fire. And using the fire to create the gas that creates the lift in the air and filling the balloon and creating this higher view. Okay, where are we right now? What's the last one? Wind and air. And I can remember thinking about being in a sailboat with my dad teaching me how to sail, pulling up the mast, holding the sail with the rope, and figuring out where the wind was blowing from and adjusting the sail so it would gently fill with the air, with the wind, and gently propelling the boat forward easily by catching the breeze. If I think of these 4 elements, and I think of all of them as energy, how do I propel my life forward? Which energy is the earth right now? Do I need to plant my feet and connect with Mother Earth and get solid ground and use my lower body to propel myself forward? Do I need to light the engine, move the propeller, gain some force and action and willpower to push myself forward, as in pushing the boat through the water with the rudder, with the paddle, with the motor? Do I have to push it forward? Or do I have to open the sail and catch the breeze? Or do I need to light the fire and release the gas to get a higher perspective? This is where her life is understanding where is she in the journey by using these 4 elements. So she thought, which one feels the most natural to me right now? Where it wasn't that long ago when I was in college and learning, and I had the message that was incessant in my mind that you have to push your way to the top. You have to climb the ladder. You have to be competitive with people around you. That was then. And that doesn't feel natural anymore. But going inward is the state right now where I can release the gas and raise the perspective and gain a little bit more insight. That seems like it. But when I gain the insight, I feel like that's where I'm going to catch the wind. I'm going to reach above the treetops, and the wind is going to direct the balloon, is going to direct that higher perspective. So as she sat on this rock and let the sun on her face, she started to realize that going with the flow is the right place. Understanding where am I on this journey and looking inward and asking those questions. Do I need grounding? Do I need to push to force to take action? Do I need to light the fire and release the gas and gain perspective? Do I need to catch the breeze? And in every single one of these stages, you are sitting beautifully in any one of these steps, is asking yourself, what is it that I need right now to unlock this next stage of my life? What is it that I need to do? And if you listen and you look at the sand just like the water is running through, and you see the sand part ways, and you see the sand move out of the way to allow the water, to surrender that the water is there, this moving force, and it moves aside, but it supports the water. And it allows the water to meander and curve its way through the sand. And then it sits back and enjoys the river. It enjoys the creation. These are the steps and these are the stages. And these are the questions to ask yourself every single time. Where am I on this journey, and what is it that I need to do? And you use this analogy, and Onai sat there and said, okay, this seems like such a peaceful way to live, that I need to surrender. Let the force move through one of these four elements. Let the force move its way through, and then I adjust in my vehicle, if you will, by deciding where I'm at. Going inward. This is where we are right now, is we're in the spiritual realm. We are moving in the upper chakras. We're not in those lower chakras anymore that we have to force our way through life. That now we are in a waking up process. And if you are still listening to Onai's story, you, my friend, are beginning to wake up. It is a time now for you to move your awareness to the upper chakras, to understand the energy of the earth, understand the energy of the planet, that we are building a new earth. And in order for us to survive and thrive, we need to move our awareness to the upper parts of the chakra and ask those inner questions, those inner journey. Where am I going? What am I doing? What stage of life am I at? What am I doing with these four elements? And what's not working? We're not in the end of the solar plexus, which was the last several years of push and force and coerce and compete. We are in the upper chakras. We are in the heart and the throat chakras, where it is about authenticity and building relationships and cooperation, where people are coming together to build community again. We're coming together to build community. Our relationships are getting deeper. Businesses are coming together in cooperation. We're in the heart chakra and the throat chakra now. Speaking our truth, setting boundaries, self-care, deepening our relationships. And it's time to go with that. We're no longer in that old energy that is layers beneath us. That forcing isn't working anymore. So I ask you, where are you in your journey? Are you the sand stepping aside and letting the water flow through? Are you the river and the force of moving through and allowing, and then sitting back and receiving, sitting back and enjoying what you've created? Or do you need to get anchored in the planet and you need to just connect to Mother Earth and use your legs to kind of get you moving a little bit? Are you allowing the water? Are you forcing still, where you're lighting the motor and you're starting the ignition and you're letting the motor push you through? But that's not where we are. Or are you the air, where you can gently and peacefully open the sail and let the breeze move you through while you relax into the sailboat? Or is it time for you to light the fire and release the gas and rise above the trees to get a little bit more perspective? Each of these have their own stage. Each of these are their own tools, but every single one of them is requiring you to go inward, to ask those questions of yourself. Where are you going? What are you doing? Why are you here? What is your purpose? And what are your next steps? And listen, if this is something that you want to dig deeper in, this is the basis of my group coaching program. This is the basis of going inward, the journey, and understanding how energy works, how to use our chakras, and where we are on the planet. What is the planet's element? What is the planet's current element? And I believe it's air. I believe it's wind. It's not water anymore, where we have to propel ourselves through and compete and push against the resistance of the water to get ourselves going, pushing against the resistance of people around us and competing. I think we're in the element of air, where we have to open our sail. We have to open the sail of our boat, and we have to find the wind of the direction of our purpose. And I can relate so much to Onai, because the water skiing story is true. Holding my ski tips in the water and tightening my muscles and giving the nod to my dad for him to put the propeller in the water and jet the boat. And that is a true story. And also a true story is my dad teaching me how to sail, is sitting back and relaxing into the sunfish sailboat that he and my grandpa, his dad, built together. and him teaching me how to sit back and relax and hold the rope and open the sail and find the wind and coast across the water. Now, the only thing I've not been in is a hot air balloon, but maybe, I should go do that, because maybe that's exactly what I need right now in my life, is higher perspective, because I am still fighting from the solar plexus, which is scratch and claw and compete your way to the top. But that's not working anymore. If you're finding yourself in this competitive state, that was it years ago. After school and college and any of you that are in corporate jobs, that was it years ago. But it's not that anymore. The world is changing, and we need to go with it. We need to understand what element the planet is working, because this is nature. I can't force a tree to go through its process. I can't force it to change colors. I can't force it to drop its leaves. I can't force it to create the buds. All of that happens naturally, just like the sand moving aside. So if you are ready to really dive and go inward, if this is something that resonates with you, if this is something where you're ready to gain the support in your life, to understand how the world works, how energy works, I can teach you. I can teach you how energy works. I can teach you about the chakras and how to use the chakras in your life. And I will say this. A lot of people are a little head shy about a group coaching program, but I pride myself in creating a very safe space and allowing everybody to be heard and to come together. I also do one-on-one coaching, but my group coaching program just has this dynamic that is beautiful, of people coming together to support one another, because right now we are in the community building stage. That's where business is going. That's where the world is going, is we're collaborating and cooperating and communing together to support one another. You don't have to do this on your own. You don't have to do this by yourself. You don't have to do life by yourself anymore. That you can join my community. And I hope you do. And the way to do that, you can follow the links in the show notes. You can visit my website, theenrichmentacademy.com. You can send me an email at themeditationroomtc@gmail.com and put in the subject line, "Let's talk." And tell me that you're interested in my group coaching program. I find it to be life-changing for the clients that I've worked with in the past. And it really is for those who are ready for change. You're wanting to start going with the flow instead of pushing against the resistance, pushing against what used to work that doesn't work anymore. So I hope that the story of Onai helps to lift you up and inspire you to ask those inward questions, because right now, in order to grow, in order to change and shift with where energy is going, this is an inner journey. And it is a personal journey. Don't get me wrong. It is a personal journey of going inward and asking those questions and getting to know yourself a whole lot better. So I hope to hear from you. I hope that you reach out. And I hope that this story helps to open up your perspective and give you a greater view of your life, of where you could be going and what you could be doing in your life to move it forward easily and with peace. Thank you for listening. If you liked that episode, please subscribe, like, and write a review. Let me know how that landed with you. If you'd like to support this podcast, please check out in the show notes where you could buy me a chai tea, or you can join my newest podcast membership for exclusive episodes, guided meditations, and transformative exercises that you won't find anywhere else. For more transformational tools, techniques, and programs, check out my website, theenrichmentacademy.com. Bring your journal, open your heart, and let's get ready for some serious transformation.